and welcome to the recipe for the day from www.kitchennewbie.com. And today we are making
a Millionaire Shortbread.
You can find this recipe on www.kitchennewbie.com, and whilst you're there, why don't you have a look around, have a look at the different recipes and techniques that we're daily building into our little website. And while you're at it, why not sign up for our newsletter? It will come weekly into your inbox with recipes, ideas, hints and tips, and lots of other stuff too. Do you have to be a millionaire to eat Millionaire Shortbread?
No.
Why is it called Millionaire Shortbread then?
Because it's luxury. It's one of those things that... Well, I don't think my mum would have ever dreamt of making this particularly.
Right.
But I can remember in our local baker's shop there was this shortcake slice that had caramel and chocolate on the top. It was called caramel shortcake then.
Right.
And I can remember... caramel shortbread.
Right.
But it had chocolate on the top, and I used to always have a piece of that. It used to be a square. And then and my mum would say, "Oh, why don't you try that?" I always wanted that. And I'm always thinking, why does she always want me to have a bun or something else? I realised it was double the price of everything else. That's probably why, no.
Millionaire.
I think
perhaps you needed to be, in those days, a lira millionaire in order to buy one.
Yeah, it's probably. Anyway, it became Millionaire Shortbread later on, I think. I don't think it's always been called that. Whether it was just somebody who decided on the recipe and decided to call it, I don't know. But it's a lot easier now than it used to be, because making caramel was always a problem for me. I could never get it just right till I realised that if you use condensed milk with some sugar and butter, it's the easiest thing to make.
Right. Tom Lister used to always put condensed milk in his tea.
Oh,
at school.
I could eat it
because he obviously, his house was the Kremlin, and he was very high up in the Newton Heath
Labour Party.
Well, no, the Newton Heath front for communist takeover of the world.
Yeah. His dad was a Labour politician.
Yeah. We used to call his house the Kremlin, and he used to come to school when we was in the sixth form with a billy can, a workman's billy can, in which he used to make his tea.
I remember his boots. Yeah. I think he must have had them about 300 years. They were so... I think they must have been his dad's or somebody's.
He was a great guy. He was
a great guy. Of course he was.
Condensed milk in his tea.
Yeah, condensed milk. It's very versatile, this condensed milk, because I use it to make ice cream. Very easy ice cream in the summer months, not in autumnal months. There's just something about the taste of condensed milk that is just perfect. Sweet creaminess. And it's creaminess like nothing else. Because that's basically what it is. It's milk, whole milk, that's been evaporated off and evaporated off. And it's made into sweet. It's sweetened, and then it's made into this gorgeous, thick, unctuous, syrupy stuff. And of course now they've started to do caramel, but don't use that in your Millionaire Shortbread.
Right.
Because it's too runny, it's too seepy out. You can use it, but you'll find that it will just become a caramel ooziness.
It might be quite fun to watch people eat it.
Yes, it might be. It was funny because I was thinking they might do that on the Bake Off this time, Millionaire Shortbread. I can't remember them doing it before, but they probably have. I know they have on that creme de la creme thing. Anyway, Millionaire Shortbread. It's got its 3 gorgeous layers of loveliness.
We've done shortbread lots of times.
Yeah, we have. Well, shortbread's very easy to make. Now, I always say now, the little ingredient...
Where are my glasses? That's what you always say.
And you do. Came downstairs this morning, thought I got rid of you. No, you popped back up again. completely out of breath because you went downstairs and upstairs again. That doesn't happen very often for you,
Not very
does
often,
it?
no. Go on,
Anyway.
yes, you always say...
I always say that the little secret ingredient to shortbread is cornflour.
Right.
You add a bit you don't have to add much to make it that slightly crisp but melt in the mouth taste.
Gives an almost biscuity feel.
Oh, but it's beautiful. But I found that if you add a little bit of custard powder, you've got that vanilla taste as well. And vanilla in this recipe, anything with chocolate and caramel, just adds even an extra dimension to it. But it does to your ordinary shortbread. So that's a bit of a tip. If you want to add something that's even more special to your shortbread, add a little bit of custard powder.
So how much? What we're talking?
Well, for this fits one of those 20, 23, 25 centimetre tins, rectangular tins, not the huge ones, the smaller ones. I measured mine, it's 20 centimetres by 25.
That's a 10-inch tin.
Is it? But it's not square, it's rectangular.
Yeah.
But it's sort of stocky, my other rectangular tin's much longer. Right, now, these ingredients will just fit with that amount. 250 grams of plain flour. Then I usually sift that with 25 grams of either cornflour if you don't want to use custard powder, if you're not keen on vanilla, or 25 grams of custard powder, not both.
250 to 25.
To 25, so it's 275, yeah, complete. If you just want to use plain flour, then just use that.
Yeah.
But it's got to be 275. You need 190 grams of very soft butter. And what I tend to do is I cut it into small pieces as I'm measuring it. Then all I've got to do is to pop it into the flour. But I also, before I do that, I stir my sugar in now.
Right.
To my flour before I add my butter. And you'll need 80 grams of soft brown sugar. Now, if I'm just making shortbread, I would put a little bit more sugar in, probably nearly 100 grams. But because it's going to be a very sweet delight anyway, the less sugar is optionally better. But if you want to make it sweet, but I prefer it with this amount. So once you've sifted your flour and you've stirred in your sugar and you pop your cubes of butter, then you've got to rub that in nice and well. The only way I can say is really, it's not pastry.
Yeah.
You handle this like with your full hands and dough it, and then you pull it together with your whole hand and you massage it in, because what you're doing this time is you're coating every grain of flour with your fat. With your
whole
butter.
gang of coating you've got there.
It does it. It will do it because you're melting your butter.
Yeah.
Some people use melted butter, but
yeah.
it doesn't. It makes it slightly oily. I don't know.
Well, the reason for that is because it probably splits a bit.
Separates, yeah. So it's not worth the hassle, in my view. I'd sooner have the hassle of using my fingers to push it in. If you want to do it in a food processor and then just put it all into a bowl and bring it together, you can do it that way. Now then, in your tin now, you don't need to worry about it. Grease your tin well. Don't line it this time, so you make sure it's well greased and it's a fairly good non-stick tin. Press your shortbread mixture down so it's nice and even and comes slightly up the sides.
Okay.
Not for any other reason, is that it will become a flat piece of shortbread then. Because it does, even though it's plain flour, it will give a little bit of rise. And you want it all even, so that when you cut it into squares...
Unless the butter also melts, it collapses on itself a touch.
That's right, so you'll get nice even squares. You won't get some cocked up at the side, or whatever.
You mean
or in the middle.
Like Pippin does?
Yeah. Or in the middle, you won't get it'll be a really nice flat surface. Now that has got to cook for about 20 to 25 minutes at 180 degrees. Gas mark 4, 350.
F.
Yeah, takes about 20 minutes, 25 if if it's needs it. Then leave it to cool.
What are you looking for? You're looking for slightly golden
colour. Yeah. But the thing is about shortbread is it also feels fairly firm to the touch. It doesn't give much. Right. It shouldn't give much. But it's the colour, that sort of pale golden colour. If it's not that colour, if it's paler, then it's not done. And if you can still depress it, especially in the centre.
And if it's dark golden, it's
burnt. I quite like shortbread well done, but not for this recipe.
Yeah.
Now, once it's baked, you need to let it cool completely. you're going to be pouring hot caramel on, but if the shortbread's hot as well, it doesn't adhere to it in the same way.
But it will melt, won't it, and slip off?
Yeah, it does. And so you need your shortbread completely cold.
Can we just ask?
Yeah.
Because you see not that I've seen it very often, but you see when people make shortbread, they sort of stab it with the fork.
Oh, you would normally do that for
for shortbread.
All that is to stop it bubbling up.
Right.
But if you make sure you press it right down. But nowadays, I do it when I'm making just ordinary shortbread because that's traditional.
Yeah.
That's the look of shortbread. That's what you expect. It just looks like pastry otherwise. But for this, you don't need to do it unless you feel it might pop up. So if you just prick it here,
it's like air bubbles underneath.
And that's why they used to do it, you see. Because traditionally shortbread was quite thin.
Yeah.
So it did used to bubble up a bit. Now, to make your caramel, you'll need a smallish saucepan and you'll need 50 grams of butter and 50 grams of soft brown sugar. Pop those into your pan over a very, very low heat. And pour in 1 397 gram can of condensed milk. Why it's 397 grams?
I was going to say, what
I don't know. Pour that in so it covers the whole bottom of your pan and scoop out the rest. Don't waste any of it. And then you can use your finger to lick the rest. But don't cut it.
Don't lick the can.
Not with your tongue. No. Put your spoon in it.
No, but just think imagine getting cut.
Oh, I know. Well, I won't. No. I have done before today, I must say. Right, so that's all over a very low light. You've got a wooden spoon. You're just moving all that around so that your sugar and your butter and your condensed milk all mix well together. Now, as it's heating up, your sugar will dissolve quite quickly because soft brown sugar is so very fine. Once you've got no grains of your soft brown sugar left, just turn your heat up a little bit and bring the whole mixture to the boil. Then leave it for about 3 to 4 minutes. Now, watch it constantly.
Boiling?
It's going to be No. It's going to be simmering, bubbling, but not boiling.
Yeah.
It's going to be simmering.
You bring it to the boil and
pop, pop. You'll see it go blop.
Yeah.
Plop. If it's boiling, it goes...
A bit like a volcano, sort of getting ready to blow.
So you bring it to the boil, but then you turn
let
it down.
Off.
But you do that for about 3 to 4 minutes. It will change consistency. It will thicken up. Take it off the heat as soon as it does that. I can't say it's 3 minutes. Can't say it's 4 minutes. About 3 or 4 minutes.
It will vary depending on all sorts of things.
Of course it will. Yeah. And then you take it completely off the heat, and then you scoop it all down to the bottom, and then pour that over your cold shortbread. And it will pour thickly, but it will pour, and it will gradually just settle down. If it's a bit stiffer than that, then get a hot palette knife and just move it gently, or a back of a spoon, so long as it's hot, and you just push it. But it should go down nice and easily. Now then, for your topping, which of course is chocolate, you will need 200 grams of... now then, you can either use... I tend to do 100 grams of milk and 100 grams of dark. But it's completely up to you. You can use all milk or all dark. But if you're using a mixture of plain and milk or all plain, you'll need 50 mils of double cream. I'll tell you about this in a minute.
Like a ganache.
Well, it's not. There's not enough cream for that, but there is a reason to it. If you're using all milk, 20 mils. Or 20 grams of double cream.
Mils, not grams.
It's mils.
Because grams are a lot heavier than mils when it comes to cream.
Yes, so there you are. Now then, what that does is for your chocolate, because you're going to be pouring it over your caramel, and once it's set, chocolate goes almost like glass. It's very cracky and sharp, and it's very hard to cut into. Now, because it's going to be chilled as well, it does, which makes it easier to cut in the long run, but it also makes it easier to cut because it's not quite as hard.
Right, so you've added your cream to soften your chocolate. You add your cream
to keep your chocolate. Stop it from making it into little shards, because I've seen them on that creme de la creme.
Yeah.
When they've been cutting the chocolate and it breaks into little pieces. Yeah. And I learnt this just from making ganache, making chocolates, making toppings for things. Because the first lot of chocolate shortbread, Millionaire Shortbread, was delicious, but it looked an absolute car crash. but it won't if you do this
Yeah.
with it. And what you do is you have a bowl over a pan of hot water that's just gently simmering, but your water in your bowl don't touch, because chocolate doesn't like to get too hot, because it separates the oil from the
solids,
cocoa solids. And now your cream and your chocolate can be, melted together in the bowl. Once it's all melted and combined, then pour it straight over your caramel, which should be cool, completely cool by this time. So it's in 3 stages. It does take a full day to do, but it's very well worth it. So pour your chocolate over.
That's why it's called Millionaire chocolate, because you spend all day doing it.
Time rich. And then make sure it spreads out right to the edges of your tin. If it's well greased, that won't matter.
Yeah.
Now then, all you have to do is to pop it in the fridge for a bit.
Once it's cool a touch.
Once it's cool, pop it in the fridge and let it set. It'll take about 45 minutes to an hour. But what you need to do is to get it out, bring it slightly to room temperature, and then use a knife, a sharpish knife, just to gently score down it and cut it into... And be gentle with your chocolate, because even though it's got that little bit of cream in...
Be careful with it.
It does still have a tendency to crack, so a warmish knife might do. Not a hot knife, just warm, not a cold knife.
You don't like it open, cold steel.
And then cut it into as many squares as you want, depending how big you like it.
How big your mouth is.
Yeah. What I tend to do is I cut half into biggish pieces and half into smallish pieces.
Right.
So, because I know that some people don't like
me,
a huge...
does not have big pieces of chocolate and sugar. But I don't mind a little taste.
So now it's all cut up into pieces. All you have to do is to put it into a tin, away from everybody else, so just you knows it's there.
In a coolish place, I'd have thought.
Coolish, yeah. You can keep it in the fridge.
Yeah.
Because once it's cut up, it won't matter. But it keeps well. But this is a wonderful thing to make for Christmas presents. Because you can make it quite a few days before you're giving it to the person. And it'll still keep well for 3 or 4 days. 4 or 5 days.
Thank you for listening to the Recipe for the Day podcast. We hope to see you sometime at www.kitchennewbie.com. Kitchen Newbie is a kind of online cookery school which hopes to help people new to cooking, and you will find lots of easy recipes and techniques. So, why not pop down and have a look? We're new, there's lots to do, but we'd love to see you just the same.